Event 1 1/8 on the turf, and here's the finish.
Vernon Castle now makes the lead, 3/4 of a length for Eddie Delahousse. Full of Stars now pressuring from second. Gap of 2 lengths, and Sovereign Don is now third. Manila scooting through along the inside for Toro in fourth. Length and a half to Roman Magistrate fifth. Sean Amar sixth along the rail. Mazad fairly far back looking for Racing Room in seventh. Then He's a Saros on the outside. Vital Spirit and Manzotti are the trailers. They come to the top of the stretch, and Vernon Castle has his hands full with Full of Stars. It's Vernon Castle along the rail. Full of Stars right alongside. Sovereign Don rebounding now third and inching up. He's a Saros making a big rally on the far outside. Here comes Manila moving up with Racing Room down the stretch. Vernon Castle along the inside, still there with a short lead. Manila to challenge on the outside. It's Manila going right on by Vernon Castle near the wire. Manila just drawing clear. Vernon Castle is second. In the cinema, it's Manila.
Fernando Toro was aboard the Leafard Colt Manila, trained by Leroy Jolly. Vernon Castle was second. Full of Stars was third. The time for the 1 1/8, 1:40. It was a Grade 2 event for 3-year-olds. These 3-year-olds racing 1 1/4 on the turf, and here's how it finished.
Glow maintains a 2-length lead. That's Cardfield second by half. Manila gaining on the outside. Manila on the outside takes second, continues to move up gradually on Glow there at the 8th pole. Glow on the rail leads by a half. Manila on the outside second and still moves up. That's Cardfield is third, then South Jet. Manila on the outside of Glow. Those two heads apart as they race to the wire.
The winner, Manila by Leafard, is a grandson of Northern Dancer. The second-place horse, Glow, is a son of Northern Dancer. The third-place horse, Dance Card Filled, is a grandson of Northern Dancer by Dance Bid. The time for 1 1/4, 2:03.
Tonight, we're live from Atlantic City, New Jersey, the playground of the world. It's a city of action that last year attracted over 29 million visitors. They come to take a chance. They come looking for luck and playing for part of the $2.4 billion in net revenue generated by Atlantic City's 11 operating casino hotels. In a town where they play for big purses, the historic Atlantic City Racecourse has put up a guaranteed pot of $150,000 tonight to be won in less than 2 minutes on the track's main turf course. It's action that has bought out the high rollers of the equine set for the 34th running of the Grade 1 United Nations Handicap. Thoroughbred Sports and ESPN present Racing Across America. Tonight, live from the Atlantic City Racecourse in Atlantic City, New Jersey, it's the 1986 United Nations.
Here is Manila, the only 3-year-old trying to become the 5th 3-year-old to win the UN Handicap. Now the 2-to-1 favorite. He started only 9 times in his career, a maiden until 5 months ago, and Jose Santos, who was the leading rider of the recently completed Belmont meet, is aboard.
5-2, and deservedly so. He's probably the best 3-year-old on the turf in the country and shows his stuff against the older horses tonight. Pine Belt might be a little bit of a long shot at 30-1. He hasn't won a stakes or a race this year, but he was good enough to go off favorite in the Cinema Handicap in California. He's got more talent than 30-1.
And you see the favorite, of course, Manila, going down through the Capodamonte at 4-1, the filly, and Try Precise at 13-1. Dave, again, the support Manila's getting, and you wonder why you don't see more of the 3-year-olds in the turf contest, especially against the older horse.
Well, okay, Chris, only one more horse to go in now. Try for Size on the outside. Try for Size moving in. Now a little balky behind the gate. The United Nations Handicap. $150,000, a Grade 1 event. They're in the gate. They're up. Racing for the lead between horses, Lieutenant's Lark moves out quickly. On the outside, Uptown Swell moves up. On the far outside, a Try for Size. Passing the stands, it's Lieutenant's Lark in front. Entitled To now drives up second. Try for Size on the outside, a third. Along the rail, Manila is fourth with Castellet's fifth. Pine Belt sixth. On the outside, Capo de Monte. And along the hedge, Uptown Swell. They race past the stands into the first turn with Lieutenant's Lark still showing the way. It's Lieutenant's Lark by 2 lengths now. On the outside, a Try for Size is second. Entitled To goes along in a third with Manila fourth. Uptown Swell has moved through along the hedge 5th with Castellet 6th, Capo Diamante 7th, and Pine Belt trails. They straighten away down the backstretch. Lieutenant Lark has the lead, but Try for Size now driving up on the outside is second. Manila, the 3-year-old, on the move in third. And Title 2 along the hedge fourth. Between horses, Capo Diamante. Uptown Swell now making a bold move between horses. On the outside of Castellet's is 8th, and Pine Belt trails. They race toward the far turn with Lieutenant Lark still in front. Try for Size is second. Along the hedge, driving through is Uptown Swell. On the outside, Manila now races up third. Uptown Swell fourth. Castellet's on the move in fifth with Capo Diamante along the hedge sixth. Rounding the turn, Lieutenant Lark still showing the way with Try for Size. Manila now coming strong on the far outside. Turning for home, it's Lieutenant Lark in front. Manila drives up on the outside a second. Coming through between horses is Uptown Swell in third. They're in the stretch with Lieutenant Lark on the outside. Manila driving up with Uptown Swell coming between horses. It's Manila on the outside with Uptown Swell alongside. Manila now drawing out by a length. It's Manila winning it by a length with very tight for second. Uptown Swell on the outside getting second with Lieutenant Lark along the hedge third.
40 and 260. The second place horse, Uptown Swell, at 340 and 260. And then it was Lieutenant Lark returning $2.60. Let's go now for a closer look at the UN Handicap, a record setter to Dave Johnson.
We're going to set it up on the backstretch now. Here is Lieutenant Lark, who had that early lead. Then we come to Try for Size, the 9-horse, who is in the thick of it. On the outside, and taking the worst of it the whole way, is the eventual winner, Manila, with the light cap. That's the horse we're going to watch as when we let it roll. And then Uptown Swell, who saved ground on the turn and was a gutsy second place, is fourth at this point on the rail. Now, let's watch the turn for home and the stretch drive as Lieutenant Lark, trying to make every pole a winning one, setting rapid fractions on the rail. But here comes the eventual winner, Manila, on the outside wide. What a performance and what a ride as Jose Santos got everything out of this 3-year-old. Maple looks like he has a chance, splitting horses, and a gutsy ride and a gutsy performance by Uptown Swell, but not to be. Manila, trained by Leroy Jolly, ridden by Jose Santos on the outside, gets the victory with Uptown Swell second and Lieutenant Lark holding for the...
Yes, in the first 3/4 and I think it's go very fast, you know. And the last part, and my horse respond good and passed the way and say this is a new record now.
Okay,
yes.
Congratulations. Jose Santos, who rode Manila this evening to victory.
And ESPN present Racing Across America. Tonight, live from the Meadowlands Racetrack in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's the 1986 Valentine's...
The first 3-year-old ever to compete in the Valentine's Scotch Classic. He's won 3 straight races, the Cinema, the Lexington, and the UN. 5 of his last 7. He's not been worse than second in 6 starts on the turf. And look at the jockey, Jose Santos, who has won 4. He's going for his 5th winner of the night, 25-year-old from Chile. Began riding when he was 14, grooming since he's been 8 years old. He knows what thoroughbred...
Right, Dave, it's only a few more minutes to post time. Let's take a look at the final odds update. Number 1, Little Look, is 35 to 1. And I'm a Banker getting some attention at 5 to 1. Equalize, a bit of a long shot at 7 to 1. And Fiery Celt, as Dave said, acted up, almost had a leg over the saddling stall in the paddock at 17 to 1. And the old veteran Late Act, who's won several stakes here at the Meadowlands, likes the course, is 7 to 1. Dark Flood at 25 to 1. Bradford at 50 to 1. And of course, as we said, Manila commanding all the attention at 4 to 5. And Diamond Rich 20 to 1. That's how the odds look.
It's Diamond Rich left to move into line. This is 1 3/8 on the turf. Chris Antley aboard Diamond Rich. One of the assistant starters guides him in, and we're ready for the start. And they're off. Along the inside, I'm a Banker quickly sprints away to a 2-length advantage. Bradford on the outside into second position. Equalize the Great Colt back to third. Then along the inside, that's Fiery Self, followed by Manila right there between horses. Diamond Rich on the outside. After that, it's Dark Flood, Little Look, the gray horse, and Late Act is the trailer as the field turns into the stretch for the first time with I'm a Banker. Enjoying a 4.5-length advantage. Bradford on the outside is in second by a head and Equalized toward the rail races third by 2. Manila is in fourth.
fourth. Then comes Diamond Rich alongside fifth. Little Look gains ground on the outside. Then comes Fiery Self, followed by Dark Flood and Late Act. As the field moves around the clubhouse turn, it's I'm a Banker with Antonio Grael aboard. In front every step of the way so far, leading it by 2. Bradford holds the second spot, and Manila is at the rail and inching up now a closer third. Equalize gains a bit on the outside. Gap of a length and a half, and Diamond Rich is fifth by a head. Then Fiery Self sixth on the inside. Little Look, followed by Dark Flood, and Late Act still trails. They continue down the backstretch. I'm a Banker, who's had it his own way from the start, leads by 3 parts of a length. Equalize is gaining now into the second spot. Manila holds the rail, third by a head. And Little Look on the outside is fourth, with Fiery Self fifth. Around the far turn, it's still I'm a Banker in front, and it's still Equalize second. Now on the inside, look at Manila roar up on the rail to take command. Manila in front now as they turn for home. Manila cuts the corner, draws off quickly by 2.5 lengths, and down the stretch they come. Manila, the 3-year-old with Jose Santos, drawing away from the field in the 86th Valentine Scotch Classic. Here they come to the wire, and here's Manila, the winner by 8. It's I'm a Banker finishing second. Fiery Self was third after that Late Act, who was last early, finishing fourth. What a performance as Manila stalked the leaders. Jose Santos winning his 5th race of the evening, saving ground, and when he said go, that was all she rode in the Valentine Scotch Classic. Of course, the track or the course was yielding, and the final time a slow 2 minutes 18 and 4/5 seconds. But Chris, what a performance by Manila in the
award winner. We're talking about Turkoman, one of the outstanding horses, and of course, perhaps, maybe, yes, the big 3-year-old Ogaijin late in the year. All of them gathering at the Marlboro Cup Invitational. We'll be there. Want you to join us for our Thoroughbred Sports special telecast, 5 to 6 p.m., the Marlboro Cup. And we hope you've enjoyed the Valentine's Classic, the legacy of John Henry. An outstanding performance by the 3-year-old.
Was a 10. Prince True, 10-1. Faburola with Yves Samartin, a 15-time champion jockey in France, 13-1. Uptown Swell with Guerra at 14-1. And completing the field, Noble Fighter at 8, Flying Pigeon at 9, and Manila, the 3-year-old, the 4-5 choice. And let's check the course record that they were running against. Secretariat set the course record in the Man o' War at 2:24 and the stakes record, John Henry at 84, 2:25 and a 5th. And here's Marshall Cassidy's call of the Turf Classic.
Okay.
0. Divulge between horses going for the lead. On the outside is Manila in second. And Damaster, Prince True, and Faburola. As they pass the stands the first time, Divulge has the lead. Faburola second. On the outside is Manila in third. Then Damaster, Prince True, Noble Fighter, Uptown Swell, Danger's Hour, and Flying Pigeon is ninth. Divulge leads the way by about a half. Faburola second by a half. Manila on the outside, third by a half. Damaster in fourth, then Prince True, Noble Fighter, Uptown Swell, Danger's Hour, and Flying Pigeon as they enter the clubhouse turn. The first quarter, 25 and 4, and Divulge continues to lead the way by about a half. Then it's Faburola. On the inside is Damaster. On the outside is Manila in fourth, and Prince True. They continue around the clubhouse turn. Divulge nearest the hedge leads by a half. Faburola second by a half. Manila on the outside is third by a neck. Then Damaster. They're followed by Prince True, Danger's Hour, then Noble Fighter. Uptown Swell on the outside. Flying Pigeon remains in ninth. The half, 51 and 1 down the backstretch. Divulge continues to lead by about a half. Faburola second by a neck. Manila on the outside third. Then Damaster. They continue down the backstretch. Divulge leads by a half. The mare, Faburola, second by a length. Damaster on the hedge, now third by a neck. Manila on the outside is in fourth. Then it's Danger's Hour, Uptown Swell, Prince True. Noble Fighter has dropped back. Flying Pigeon remains in ninth. 3/4, 16 and 4 as they enter the far turn. Divulge on the rail still leads by a neck. Faburola on the outside is second still by a length. Manila and Damaster heads apart. Behind and on the outside is Uptown Swell and Danger's Hour as they approach the top of the stretch. The mile in 40 and 3. Divulge continues to lead the way by Fabulola. Manila heads apart. Damaster is on the inside in fourth there in the stretch. Divulge still leads. Damaster gaining ground. Manila also moving up on the far outside. Here comes Danger's Hour. They pass the 8th pole. The 3-year-old Manila on the inside. Damaster, their heads apart. Danger's Hour now third. Manila, Damaster, heads apart as they race to the wire.
Oh, and it was Manila by the slightest of margins over the English invader, Damaster. Manila, the winner of the Turf Classic. The 3-year-old needed every ounce of that weight break. We'll be back to give you another look to make it official as Manila can be the great 3-year-old on the turf of American racing.
Gets clear here toward the inside, and Jerry Bailey on Danger's Hour on the far outside. It's a good stretch drive, but look at the difference in riding styles. Pat Ettery, that Ned the Coachman style on the inside. He's wearing the pink cap, and Jose Santos, the sensational rider of 1986 with a strong right-handed whip. Last quarter in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Danger's Hour rallies for third, but not good enough on the top two. Again, look at the difference in style as Damaster gets beat by about a head, and Manila, the 3-year-old who gave who had a 7-pound receipt in weights from the inside horse, gets home and takes the photo.
Actually,
Jose Santos.
Looked a bit like a European race, the way they cantered on early and then ran on late, much faster.
Charlesy, let's see what Manila and the other horses paid across the board. Our congratulations to Leroy Jolly. He certainly has a good one here with Manila, who paid $383 and $240. Damaster, $1120 and $480. Danger's Hour, $380, $227 and $450.
When he was pinched back at the start, we all know how painful that can be. This horse is by Nureyev, second last out to Estropad in the Oak Tree Invitational. Gary Stevens, who you met a bit earlier, is the rider. Couple in the wagering with 1A, victress of the Arlington Million, Estropad. Since we last saw her winning on NBC in Chicago, she came home here and beat the boys in the Oak Tree Invitational. She may have the tactical advantage with her early zip, and Fernando Toro certainly knows her and the turf course, which is an advantage. That's a powerful entry in the Breeders' Cup turf at 1.5 miles, sponsored by First Jersey Securities. Number 2 is Manila, who has a 5-race winning streak going. He's a 3-year-old with great promise against a super international field. Jose Santos, whose style of riding fits the turf and the distance events, is in the saddle. Number 3, Dahar, regally bred by Leifard out of the brilliant race mare Dahlia, is the right type of horse for this surface and distance, and I'm sure that Charlie Whittingham, the trainer, has him on his toes. Alex Solis is in the saddle. Number 4, Pillister, a 3-year-old out of another outstanding race mare, Flying Buttress. But Pillister's only win this year was in the Rutgers. He could surprise, though. Angel Cordero Jr. in the Green Silks rides. Durara is an improving 3-year-old filly who excels on a soft turf course. Now the question is whether she's as good on the firm surface. Yves Saint-Martin, who won earlier with Last Tycoon on the turf, the 45-year-old father of jockey Eric Saint-Martin, the regular rider in France of Durara, is here, as we know. Number 6, Ivor's Image, a 3-year-old filly who took a Grade 1 stakes in Italy, then the E.P. Taylor Stakes in Canada. Walter Swinburne, who was aboard for those two, is here in America and tries for win number 3. Number 7, Duty Dance, comes from way back, is at the top of her game, and Pat Day picks up the mount on Duty Dance. But it's number 8, Dancing Brave, that the racing world is talking about. He comes from way back. He has an explosive finish, and he's one of the most eye-appealing runners you will ever see. I've talked with professionals all week here who I trust, and they tell me this is the greatest horse that they've ever seen. Pat Ettery gets the riding assignment. Well, I heard an interesting story about Dancing Brave. They didn't know how tough to go on his training, so they weighed him to see just exactly how much weight he had lost, and that was the determining factor in their training schedule. He had lost a few pounds.
15 pounds in the quarantine. Here's Tom Durkin.
They're in the gate, and they're off. And Manila comes away quickly for the lead, and there goes Estropad. Toro puts her on the lead as they race into the first turn. Toward the inside, Theatrical now racing second. Duty Dance is there on the outside, with Manila in between them,
As they make their way around the first turn, it's Estrapade. She's out there by a length and a half, and Theatrical is giving chase in second. Duty Dance has been placed just off the lead on the outside third. Manila tucked along the inside fourth. The favorite, Dancing Brave, is fifth on the outside. Pillister is now sixth toward the rail in Ivor's Image as they cross over the dirt track. Then farther back are Dahar, and the trailer is Darara as the field passes us now for the first time. A mile to run in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and it's Estrapade. She's out there moving easily on the lead. Theatrical is in hand second. Manila in unhurried third. Duty Dance is fourth. Darara out of trouble and on the outside. Pillister is in tight toward the rail. And then it's Ivor's Image. Dancing Brave is just in behind them. He's only 6 lengths off Estrapade as they move into the turn. And Dahar is the trailer. A slow pace. 47-2 for the first quarter. And it's Estrapade bounding along with an unchallenged lead. And Darara has moved into second. Theatrical tucked along the inside third by 3.5. Manila is racing fourth. And Dancing Brave is moving steadily now, fifth on the outside. They continue their run up the backstretch, 3 quarters and 1:11-1. And it's still Estrapade unchallenged. Darara moving in closer, Theatrical toward the inside, and Dancing Brave is asked for more now. And he's making his move with a half-mile to run. He's moved within 3.5 lengths of Estrapade. Manila toward the inside is racing in fifth position, then Ivor's Image followed by Pillister, Duty Dance, Dahar's the trailer. And Estrapade has something left now. Estrapade is there by length and a half. Theatrical is racing second. Manila moving through toward the inside. Dancing Brave poised for the stretch drive on the outside fourth. Darara has dropped out of it as the field turns for home. Theatrical coming after Estrapade. Theatrical and Estrapade matching strides. Theatrical by ahead. Estrapade game coming back toward the inside. Manila is third, and Dancing Brave has been defeated, and they're coming to the wire, and it's Theatrical. Manila coming after him. Manila on the outside, and yes, Manila gets there in the final strides, and a jubilant Jose Santos. They were set down for the drive. Theatrical took over from Entremate. Estrapade at the top of the lane, but Manila in a perfect...
It turned out to be a thriller at Santa Anita with Manila and Theatrical head-and-head to the wire.
And there are the unofficial results. Manila, Theatrical, Estrapade with the favorite, Dancing Brave, finishing fourth. Interestingly, Dancing Brave, sired by Leafard. Leafard also the sire of Dancing Brave. But it was a lesser-known Manila, the upset winner for the $2 million turf race at Santa Anita today. And here they come for home.
Manila, Jose Santos in the red cap just pushing, and a wave of the whip. He wins it. Manila takes the Breeders' Cup Turf, a $2 million event. With Theatrical second and Estrapade.
Going past the top turn, and from there on, I wasn't happy. It looked like I was going well, but he was leaning out with me all the way down the back. And then he came into the last turn completely on the wrong leg, and he ran out. And it just stopped him quickly, and he didn't handle it.
So it wasn't a question of him losing condition, he just didn't handle the track.
Well, I felt that. The horse looked well, and he was racing nicely till that first turn, and then he was gone.
You knew Theatrical in Europe, whereas Dancing Brave normally apropos Theatrical?
Well, normally, you know, Theatrical and Manila who beat down the Southeast. They shouldn't beat him, but they have.
That's a disappointing day for you, and for Dancing Brave, the end of a brilliant career.
Well, he's off the stud now, and he's done well. He's won everything, so you can't take the arc away from him.
Classic, 1960, Theatrical second, and Estrapade, part of the entry, is third.
Manila ended his 3-year-old campaign with a dramatic victory in the Breeders' Cup Turf last November 1st. The Elkhorn also marked the seasonal debut of Washington, D.C. international winner Lieutenant Slark. And those two ran 1-2, with Manila winning easily under Jacinto Vasquez.
They're nearing the wire, and Manila is drawing away.
Well, he's just an outstanding horse, and, you know, you always worry when you haven't run in 5 or 6 months, and, you know, Lieutenant Slark is a very nice horse. Both of them, their last starts, won major Group 1 races, and they both came back at the same time, and, you know, it was really nice. It was very nice.
Full seconds. This is John Henderson reporting for the Winner's Circle.
Atlantic City, the East Coast capital of chance and sport, of glitter and gold, where Lady Luck can smile or or snarl in the same night. It's a town where you soon learn that there is no such thing as a sure thing. But in thoroughbred racing, the closest the equine sport has come to that sure thing in many a year is the champion Manila. The 4-year-old Leafard colt has won 8 straight stakes races, has not lost in over a year, has won more than $1.9 million, and established himself as the premier grass horse in the world when he met the best of the best in the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita last November.
Field turns for home, and Theatrical coming after Estropod. Theatrical and Estropod matching strides. Theatrical by a head. Estropod game coming back toward the inside. Manila is third, and Dancing Brave has been defeated, and they're coming to the wire, and it's Theatrical. Manila coming after him. Manila on the outside, and yes, Manila gets there in the final strides, and a jubilant Jose Santos.
Tonight, Manila goes after more glory at this historic Atlantic City racecourse in the 35th renewal of one of America's premier events on the turf, the United Nations Handicap. Budweiser racing across America. Tonight, live from the Atlantic City Racecourse in New Jersey, it's the 1987 United Nations Handicap event. $150,000 guaranteed for those 3 and up, going 1 mile 3/16 on the turf, and this turf course rated as one of the best in the country. And this is it was a year ago in this United Nations Handicap that Manila stamped himself as a great horse in his first Grade 1 win. He won this prestigious event as a 3-year-old, beating older horses, doing it in a course record 152-3, and becoming the 14th winner of this race to become a year-end turf champion. Trainer Leroy Jolly tried to explain what makes Manila today's greatest grass horse.
I really don't know. He has a great pedigree for the turf. He's also run well. He broke his maiden by 10 lengths on the dirt, but he is an exceptional horse. I just think he's an exceptional racehorse. He's probably the best horse I've ever had, and I think that it's going to take a pretty tough customer to tangle with him.
If there is any question about Manila, it's the fact that he has not raced since May 1st, when he won his 8th straight stakes in the Early Times Turf Classic. He's been away from the races now for 75 days.
Well, after his race at Churchill Downs the day before the Derby, we looked for some races on the dirt and kind of got out of position due to one thing or another with the weather, and just couldn't really get the right race for him.
Right here in front of me.
And Leroy Jolly, one of racing's newest Hall of Fame members, understands the questions about such a long layoff, the extra pressure it puts on him.
Well, it seems like when you have good horses, the whole world looks over your shoulder every weekend, you know. And it gets a little tough sometimes, gets a little frustrating, but those are the things that happen when you have good horses, and believe me, you're much better off when you have good horses.
Manila. He hasn't lost a race in more than a year. He's made only 2 starts at age 4, each winning handily and establishing track records along the way. He seems to be up to whatever's asked of him, and his 8 straight tally speaks for itself, but this horse has the respect among horsemen reserved only for a few active champions. And the jockey, Jacinto Vasquez, 2 for 2 with the big...
And there you see Manila going in. Let's go to the top of the stands now, and Trevor Denman.
He's there. Thank you. 3 of them loaded. Manila's gone in. Here comes Little Bowl John now, second last. Little Bowl John going in. And they sent on their way in the United Nations, and there's Racing Star going quickly to the lead on the inside. Manila came away beautifully, though, and Manila now tugging his way up. And here's Little Bowl John going off quickly now to set the pace. He's going off at a good pace up front. Air Display is second last, and Morjan content to trail 7 lengths off the lead. They've got 1 lap left to go now, and Little Bowl John, as expected, out there setting the pace, leading at 1.5 lengths. Manila is on a tight rein, right there second. In behind Manila comes Racing Star, 3 lengths off the lead. Air Display has 5 lengths to make up on them, and Morjan is content to trail early. He's 8 lengths off the leader. Past the 3/4 pole, and now Little Bowl John has slowed them down, trying to slow them down as much as he can. But Manila's right there, breathing down his neck, and Manila's just tugging at that bit, saying, let me loose as they go on the backstretch. Air Display holding his own at the rail is right there in third. Racing Star alongside of him fourth, and 3.5 back to Morjan. They now go to the half-mile pole in the United Nations. Manila still going very comfortably on the outside. At the rail, Little Bold John now dropping back in second, but Manila can hardly wait anymore. He's just telling us, Cinto Vasquez, let me loose. I want to strut my stuff out here. It's Manila now pulling off to lead by 1.5 lengths. The long shot Racing Star is trying to come and make a race of it. Air Display and Morjan are behind that. At the quarter pole, and Jacinto Vasquez is now going to oblige Manila and give him his head, and it's Manila out there leading it by 1.5 lengths. But this long shot Racing Star is coming up. He's going to try and make a race desperately. He's under the whip, but Manila is now showing his class down at the rail. Again, Racing Star chasing him home, but Manila is just exuding class, and it's Manila taking the United Nations comfortably by about 3 in the end. A big run from Racing Star in second. Air Display might have just held Morjan out of third position, and the pace-making Little Bold John was last. Time in the board 1:58 4/5, way off the track record set by Manila last year, but the pace was very slow early, and let's remember it was a yielding
ticket of the year. Racing Star 440. And third, Air Display, of course, no show betting. That was our Budweiser long shot. Do want to tell you the exacta 3 and 2. That is, of course, Manila with Racing Star. Return 21.80. That's not too bad if you believe Racing Star was second of the best. And let's take a look at the complete order of finish now. As you see, following Air Display is Morjan finishing fourth. Little Bold John finished.
ABC Sports presents exclusive live coverage from Arlington Park in Illinois of the 1987 running of the Budweiser Arlington Million. Right now, at the specifics of this race, the Budweiser Arlington Million, purse $1 million, $650,000 to the winner. Distance 1.25 miles. Firm track, although it's still a little bit soft from the floods they had here a couple of weeks ago. Temperature 83, the wind is a negligible factor. Last-minute instructions from Leroy Jolly, the trainer of Manila, to his new rider today, Angel Cordero Jr., who replaced Jacinto Vasquez, the regular rider. The trainer and Vasquez had a falling out earlier this week, apparently over another horse, and no specifics on that. Now, here is the horse they're talking about. This is Manila, who won those 9 straight stakes races, second longest streak in history for that. Let's go down now in the paddock area again to Charles E. Canty. Owners, trainers, and just a few friends. Riders up now, and there goes Forlatano with Gary Bays aboard. Charlie Whittingham's horse, and Charlie goes nowhere just for the airplane ride. Number 2, Sharud there, the Shakes horse. Number 3, Manila, the favorite, trying to come back from that loss at Saratoga. Number 7, that's Rivia. Number 8, Explosive Darling. And number 9, Glaros. Remember, there was a number 4, but that was Dance of Life, and Dance of Life has been scratched because of that suspensory problem, a tough break. So we're carrying the same weight today. It is a weight for age race, but they're all carrying 126. Forlatano won the Arlington Handicap just a week ago on this racetrack. He would be the first South American bred ever to win this race. He was bred in Argentina, ridden by Gary Bays, and of course trained by Charlie Whittingham at 20-1. I think that's an overlay. He's an awfully good bet at 20-1. Number 2 is Sharud, owned by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, trained by John Gosden. This horse has won his last 2. He won one here on this track, the Stars and Stripes, then the Eddie Reed out at Del Mar not long ago, ridden by Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Both the owner and the trainer went to Cambridge. More important, however, I think, is the fact that the jockey went to the Panamanian Jockey School and is the most famous graduate thereof. Here's the favorite, Manila, owned by Brad Shannon, Leroy Jolly trained, Angel Cordero Jr., ridden, beat Theatrical last year, and people are looking for a rematch there at odds of 6-5. Number 4 has been scratched once again. Number 5 is here. This is Theatrical on that 4-race winning streak. Alan Paulson, one of the co-owners, won this race last year with Estrapad. In this race last year, Theatrical got a very bad start and finished 10th. Could be different this time. Here's Spellbound, one of the long shots, ridden by Sandy Hawley. A great story. He is battling cancer. Sandy, as even as he rides in this race and other races here today. He won at least one earlier this afternoon, trained by Jack Van Berg, of course, the famous trainer of Ali Sheba. Number 7 is Rivlia, the other entry of Charlie Whittingham, owned by Nelson Bunker Hunt. Been some rumors of a breathing problem on his part earlier this week, ridden by Chris McCarron, who won this race in 1984 on the legendary John Henry. Number 8, again, as they call him, the house horse, owned by Dick Duchessois, the chairman of the board here at Arlington Park, trained by Luke Goldfine, ridden by Early Fires, who is won more races on this track than anybody in history. The first Illinois bred ever to run in the Budweiser Arlington Million. He's a gelding. John Henry and Teleprompter were geldings who won this race. Number 9, rounding out the field, is Glaros, owned by Mandy's Land and Enemy's Stable, trained by Tom Skivington, ridden by Jean-Luc Samin. His only stakes win this year was the Fort Marcy at Belmont last May, so he's a long shot. He was bred in France, by the way, and has a French rider here today.
Translating these European horses, and he's been a group winner in New York. Now
another look at Manila. How's he look to you in the heat?
Well, Leroy said that he expected him to be warm. He tends to get warm, and he's warm. He's lathered up, and he's a bit washy, but he looks like a happier horse going to the post right now than he did at Saratoga. When he went to the post in the Baruch, his ears were back. He was not interested. It was not a day that he ran a step. He never ran a yard that day and still was only beaten half a length, and he gave the winner weight. So we have to think that today is a better day for him.
Moving on to the turf course now, and that's number 2 you're looking at, Charud, the Shakes horse.
2 more to move in, and we'll have the 7th running of this $1 million event, the Budweiser Arlington Million. Glaros, one of the long shots, ready to take his place in the starting gate, and we're ready for the start of the Arlington Budweiser Million. And they're off. Manila on the inside, quickly going for the lead, along with Theatrical. Borlatano along the inside is next. Then comes Spellbound. Middle of the racetrack, Explosive Darling. Now passing the stands for the first time. 3 of them battle for the early lead. From between horses, it's Theatrical. On the outside, it's Glaros. And at the rail, that's Borlatano. Under the wire the first time, a mile to go. On the outside, that's Spellbound getting to the front by a head. At the rail, it's Borlatano in second. From between horses, Theatrical is third. Cordero content to sit in fourth toward the inside, with Manila fourth by 3 parts of a length. On the outside, Rivlia is fifth. At the rail, the roan colt Charud with Pinkai is sixth at this point. Then 3 back to Explosive Darling, and Glaros is the trailer as they straighten away down the backstretch. It's Borlatano and Gary Bays in front by half a length. Theatrical between horses, Spellbound on the outside. Those 3 tightly bunched, with Manila right there in fourth and Theatrical on the outside fifth. Charud at the rail, saving ground in sixth. 2.5 back, that's Explosive Darling and Glaros trails. Down the backstretch after a slow quarter in 48 and 2/5 and 3/4 in 1:13 and 3. Borlatano on the inside hangs tough, but there goes Theatrical, now taking command. Theatrical off to lead it by 3 parts of a length. Borlatano is second. Cordero looks for racing room between horses with Manila. On the outside, Rivlia with Chris McCarron is on the move. As they move to the top of the stretch, here comes Manila, boldly moving through on the inside. Cordero finds room, cuts the corner, and takes command. The champ is back in the lead, and Manila has the lead by 2.5 lengths. Pinkai puts Charud in gear at the rail as the roan colt takes second, and down the stretch they come. Manila draws off to lead it by 3. Pinkai giving chase with Charud in second. Theatrical is third. Coming to the wire in the Budweiser Arlington Million, it's Manila grabbing it by 2.5 lengths. Charud was second by 4. After that, it was Theatrical finished third, and Explosive Darling was fourth. 6th on the backstretch. Manila, with Cordero aboard, biding his time until it came time to cut the corner, and then it was Manila who kept his cool this afternoon. Maybe his only chink in the armor is the heat, because this horse certainly looked like the champion that he is. Beautifully conditioned by Leroy Jolly, home this afternoon in 2 minutes, 2 2/5 seconds.
Let's have a look, Charlesy.
And here we are, Jim. It's Theatrical on the lead, but see Manila there in the middle, pinched in behind horses. He has horses inside him and out him, and he goes to make a move here. Now watch Cordero raise up. He's going to have to steady here. This is costly. This costs him his forward momentum, but then watch Manila. He gets through, it opens up, and he drops over on the rail, and Theatrical thought he was prepared, but not for this burst of speed that Manila turns loose. This looks like the Manila who won 9 stakes races in a row.
And
he
just
confirms Leroy Jolly's impression that he is the best horse that Leroy Jolly has ever trained. That's saying something, and he looks like it right here. Sherud gets through along 2, follows in for second. Theatrical a good third. The 3 top horses in the race do finish 1, 2, 3, but Manila is no match.
And Leroy Jolly, as you said, he's won the Kentucky Derby with Foolish Pleasure and with the Philly Genuine Risk, and now he has added to that the Budweiser Arlington Million. Again, there are the unofficial results. Manila, owned by Mike Shannon, at one point was owned by a close associate of the deposed president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos. When that regime fell, the horse had to be sold. He was sold to Mike Shannon in Kentucky, and what a buy. Manila paying $4, $3, and $2.20. Sherud, $4.40 and $2.60. Theatrical paid $2.20. As you see, they were favorites. Manila was the favorite. Theatrical was second favorite. Sherud was third favorite. Have another look at the stretch run on him.
Well, it was a very easy assignment. He broke very sharp. Got instruction from Mr. Joey to lay right behind off the pace.
Now here, you've already taken the lead in the stretch. You found a nice big hole there to get through.
He rated very good, and then taking for home, he wanted it to run, and I just had to let him, you know. And he drove away with a lot of authority. He's by far the best horse I ever rode in my life. I'm so pleased to ride him. He's probably the best horse around right now.
The best turf horse you've ever ridden?
I ever ridden in my life. I mean, he was like, believe me, anybody could have won on it today. I can't take no credit for myself. He's an expert. He knows when to rate, he knows where to go, and he knows when to put out. He's perfect horse to ride for anybody.
Let's take a look at the key move. This is on the far turn.
Well, I was behind horses. I was blocked, and I wanted to stay close enough to Theatrical because I respected him in going into the race. I don't want to get stopped right there because I would have had to pull up and go around a lot of horses. And I was waiting for the one horse to finally die so I can move. And when I saw the opening, I figured if I let him run and after he gets in there, I sit on it, it would be great. But as soon as I get in there and I sit on it, he just floated from there. He just sprinted from there all the way home.
He's got tremendous acceleration, doesn't he?
Well, I rode a lot of grass horses in my 27 years of my career. I think this is by far the best horse I ever rode.
Trainer Leroy Jolly, there he is, Leroy. Quickly with you, he says the best turf horse he ever rode.
Well, he's by far the best one I've ever trained, too, so he's got a lot of good things going for him.
What's in the future of Manila?
He'll probably go back to New York and run in the Turf Classic at Belmont on the 27th of September, I think.
On the 27th, and then on to the Breeders' Cup?
Well, then there's quite a bit of time left. There's almost 60 days left before the Breeders' Cup, so then we have to make a choice. There's several grass races and a very big race on the dirt, and we're going to have to make a choice. We may try to take a shot, but first thing we're going to worry about is the Turf Classic at the Belmont Park.
Okay. This has been a presentation of ABC.
Retirement of champion Manila. Despite the retirement, Manila is a leading contender for Horse of the Year and was a potential candidate to run in the prestigious Arc de Triomphe in France, which has never been won by an American-based runner. John Henderson reports on the injury that ended Manila's racing career.
After Manila had worked 6 furlongs and 117-1 over the Belmont Park turf course last Thursday, a small hairline fracture was discovered in his left cannon bone.
He worked in a very, very deep turf going. After the work, he came off the track in a way that his exercise boy described him as getting better and better. Leroy Jolly had to make a very pertinent decision on whether we would go on to the Arc or not go to the Arc. At that time, coming off the track, we were still in consideration of racing in the Arc this year. We were considering going on the dirt in the Jockey Club Gold Cup or going back in the Turf Classic. Within 45 minutes, our entire plans had changed because Manila had to be retired because of a small hairline fracture in a cannon bone.
Manila on a charge.
Manila, champion turf horse last year as a 3-year-old, closed out his racing career with this victory in the Grade 1 Budweiser Arlington Million September 6th. The Leafard colt won 12 of 16 races and will return to stud at Lane's End Farm in Kentucky with earnings of nearly $2,693,000 to rank 10th on the list of all-time money winners.
But it's Manila Angel Cordero Jr.
The Chrysler Corporation will